Hello, this is Joy News Desk. I'm Amisi Nyamita Thompson. Coming up, nearly 200 Ghanaian students and government scholarship at the University of Memphis risk expulsion in 20 days as unpaid tuition hits $3.6 million. Also coming up, more as minority in parliament demands swift action for the students.
It is not a palatable news. Well, I'm raising it as a concern.
So on our desk, new Patriotic Party targets 2028 comeback with constitutional amendments. We've got details as Deputy General Secretary of the party says it is one of the measures for a strong revival. Also this morning, work begins on phase 2 of Blekusu Sea Defense Project after President Mahama cut the sword over the weekend. These plus more and business updates. Do stay for details. Well, let's start from the new Patriotic Party as the party's constitutional reforms adopted during its 2025 annual National Delegates Conference are the crucial spark the party needs for a strong comeback in 2028. Speaking on the probe on Joy News with Carlos Kaloni, Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haina Mohammed described the changes as transformational, designed to broaden internal participation and enhance accountability.
It's not only the amendment that is going to bring us. One, the amendment is seeking in many instances, one, to strengthen the party, two, to proffer policy direction in terms of the additions that has to do with these subcommittees. Then there are other amendments which are new that is also going to add to certain happenings that has outlived its usefulness. So in that particular direction, the party will be focused, the party will be disciplined, then we'll be able to point out the excesses and the settings in this government to show to the good people of Ghana. And like I always say it, for example, Ghanaians were so worried because they painted us in such a manner that we are having many ministers, plenty ministers, and they are all feeding onto the consolidated fund. We spend so much to take care of them. And Ghanaians believed it. Ghanaians believed it. Today, we all know that even though they said they want to have 60 ministers, which he has had now, even though they said they don't want to have excessive spending, everybody looked at them and said yes. Today, 9-month budget for Office of Government Machinery is 2.7 billion. 12-month budget for Office of Government Machinery under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was 326.
Well, joining us this morning is a member of the Constitution Amendment Committee of the NPP, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. He was also Director of Events at the National Delegates Conference. Kojo, you're welcome to our desk this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. How will you describe the event that happened over the weekend for you? How did it go?
I think as a party, we tried to give the best account of ourselves as we went through the exercise of amending our constitution. We're happy that the planning committee led by the Honorable Joseph Osei-Usu and the various subcommittees succeeded in doing their jobs. Their work ensured that our delegates came from all over the country. We had a successful event and everybody's returned to their destination safely. We thank God. We thank those who led the exercise.
Well, you've made interesting amendments to your constitution. Key amongst them is expanding the Electoral College, for voting and all that. Exactly how many make the list of the delegates now?
So currently we've expanded the Electoral College by about 40%. If you look at the various levels, we're going to go through an exercise of compiling those who will be on the register proper, because of course, though you may have granted voting rights, some may have died, some may no longer even be members of the party, etc. So we are now going to go through a process of compiling the new register. But on paper, what we have done expands the old electoral base by about 40%. As we work towards one man, one vote, if you look at the recommendations are that by 2028, we should get to every card-bearing member of the party participating in decision-making in the party. But until then, for now, we've expanded by about 40%. We're now going to go through the process of compiling the actual register.
Well, interesting, the one man, one vote that you mentioned, but why can't you do that now?
Because you have to go through a number of processes. You have to go through a registration exercise across the various polling stations. You have to then do a validation so that you can be sure that persons who have registered are indeed members of the party and not, persons who are not members just hoping to infiltrate in our camps. And then you have to go through the exercise of ensuring that people are in good standing. So we are giving ourselves a roadmap to be able to do all of this. But for now, some limited expansion has taken place, which brings us to about 40% expansion as we work towards the 2028 goal.
So with this increase of 40%, are all these people or delegates going to vote in the January primaries?
The answer is yes, except for categories where the mandate of the old persons has not expired. So you find for polling station area executives, if you look at the 4-year mandate that they have, it has not expired, so they will not be having new elections before January. After January, when their mandate expires and they're having new elections by about March onwards, then they will have new elections. But apart from that, persons like former members of parliament, former ministers of state, former district chief executives, former constituency and regional executives that don't require any fresh election, all of them automatically, TESCON executives, etc., all of them automatically will participate in the January election.
Also, the issue about the chairman being a leader of the party at all material times, both in government and outside government, quite interesting. But somewhere before, does this not set the stage when there's a disagreement between the chairman of the party and the flag bearer of the party? It's happened before, where Paul Afoko was, taken out of the party when he couldn't agree with Akufo-Addo then. Don't you think you're going to face that same problem if this should go on?
So let me give you two answers. No, Afoko was not removed because he was disagreeing with Akufo-Addo. Afoko was removed because in the wisdom of National Council, he was not complying with what he was required to do as chairman, calling meetings, etc. So that was the basis for which he was removed. But we want a party that is strong and somewhat insulated from a precedent or even a flag bearer. And that is why you find that in some of the amendments, the president has been removed from the steering committee of the party to allow the party on its own to handle its day-to-day functions without what is perceived as the overbearing influence of a president sitting at the steering committee level. You also find that on the policy, the 3 policy amendments that were made, motion 26, motion 27, motion 30, we have now sought to bring policy to the party level so that the party with its own philosophy will have a view on policy, which view, whether we're in power or in opposition, will be brought to national conference so that it is not just left to a president to determine what he wants to do and where he wants to go, but the party with its philosophy will also have a view on it. Now, if you tie that together with putting in black and white that the chairman is the leader of the party at all material times, it is part of efforts to strengthen corporate governance within the party and somewhat, give the party room to be able to exercise some oversight over a flag bearer or a president.
So does that mean that if the flag bearer will also have his views on doing things, he's leading the party in an election, if he wins, he will have some stake in there. If the chairman of the party and the flag bearer of the party are in somewhat disagreements, are there instruments or measures that have been put in place to resolve this?
Yes, so you will find that in some of the amendments that we have made, we have tried to bring together the campaign structure of a flag bearer with the national structure of the party. Currently, it's ad hoc. And so where you could have problems, those problems will be pronounced. Now, by the constitutional amendments, we have tried to make the chairman of the party, the chairman of the advisory committee for the campaign by constitutional provision. We've also tried to fuse parts of the party campaign structure with the national party executive structure so that there's a lot more coherence there. And as I mentioned, even in government, we have also tried to now remove a president from the steering committee to ensure that the party has some more room to also flesh and operate. And at the same time, let the party on its own have policy views, regardless of what a flag bearer or a potential flag bearer may think. What are our views as a party, as a liberal conservative party on health, on education, on this? And how do we advance that at conference? So that whether we're in opposition or in power, the party has a view, which view should influence a lot more directly what the government does.
I would like to know this. What were the concerns that made you take this position as a party to make the chairman of the party leader at all times?
So if you look at the Michael Quay report, there were about 4 major groups of issues for which the Michael Quay report suggests that we lost the election. The first was on, may I say, governance policy, that the economic difficulties were not satisfactorily resolved for many people. And the view is therefore to ensure that the party has a stronger say in policy for government. So you see, like I mentioned, motions 26, 27, 30 trying to deal with that. You also find issues of corporate governance within the party. For example, who sits on which committee, how much influence does this subgroup in the party have on national council, etc. So you see those amendments also done. There are also parts of that report that suggest that we need to expand and broaden a bit more to allow a lot more people to take ownership for the decisions that we're making as a party. And so you see the expansions that are also taking place. So it is about the improvement of the corporate governance of the party. That is why it's important to clarify who the leader of the party is at every point in time. There's a party. On the ticket of the party, a candidate may be elected to run for the election. The fact that that candidate wins or doesn't win doesn't mean that the party is now subsumed by that candidate. The party as the mother entity must continue to exist with its clear governance structures and its leadership structures and its leader. And that is what has informed some of these amendments.
Well, was there a problem before this decision was taken? I mean, per the report that you just mentioned, were there issues with the previous administration?
Not that I'm aware of, but this is part of an introspective effort to improve our operations, our governance, our, may I say, size of the Electoral College and our policies. A democracy is an exercise in constant improvement, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Okay, Kojo, also interesting is you electing a communications person for the party. This is a specialist field, somebody who knows his job, and you opening this up to everybody who can stand for the person to be elected. Do you wholly agree with this position?
Conference agrees with the position. That is why these matters are not left for one individual to come to a view on it. This motion was put before conference, and conference overwhelmingly approved that the position of, first of all, the communication officer should not just stay at the constituency level, but should start from the polling station level, and then the electoral area level, and then you have a constituency communication officer, and then a national one as well, even apart from the regional one. And now all of these positions should be elective so that they are accountable to the party, whether at the polling station or electoral area or constituency or region. The view is that in the past, persons who have been appointed have done well, but some of them have been holding on to the apron strings of appointing authorities, and it's important to make it elective. As sometimes some of the other specialized positions even may be. You have positions, for example, of a treasurer, where some will say you must understand how to manage the funds of a party before you become treasurer, but that is elective. So that is the decision of council, and that's a decision we're going to implement going forward.
But is there going to be some form of process where those who will be elected will have to undergo or go through to ensure that you pick the best person, or it's open to everyone to, you know, campaign for that position? Because really, being you're a communicator yourself, and you know the rudiments of the job. If that person doesn't, you know, do the job well, it spirals down from there. What do you make of that?
Yeah, so the people at the polling station level, they know who a good communicator is. Okay. The people at the electoral area level and the people at the constituency level, they know. If 3 people stand for communications director, they will be able to clearly tell that this one will be able to plan and organize and manage communication and events in a way that befits our brand as a party. And we trust that their wisdom will come to bear when they are making that decision. You don't need, you know, some expertise sitting in a room to examine CVs to make that particular decision. And conference has agreed with that view.
Are you saying you don't need any expertise to do the communication job of your party?
I didn't say that. I'm saying that you don't need experts in a room to look at a CV to select somebody to.
Okay, all right, okay.
People have the ability to identify who has the expertise. And so once people put themselves up, they will make the right choice.
Right. And also scrapping the special delegates. I mean, in 2007, we knew what happened. Currently, you have quite a number of people vying to become the flag bearer of your party, at least off the top of my head. We know Dr. Baumia, Kennedy Japan, and a host of others, also Educhum and the rest. And we believe that more people may show up, you know. At least we know for now 6, and you scrap the special delegates from voting or whittling down the numbers. Why? There was an issue in 2007. You diagnosed the problem and then suggested a solution. But now you're scrapping that and going back. What has changed?
So the feedback after we did the focus group discussions and the consultation across the country essentially is that the problem that we sought to cure by having a special delegates conference or like a super delegate election did not go away. If 16 people stand and you have a smaller group select out of them a top 5 to come for the general election, people still know that 16 people stood. That is not taken away. Rather, at a time when you are broadening the base of the party and expanding the Electoral College, because you cannot in any way hide the fact that 16 people stood. Let them go. Let the, how do I put it, party delegates across the country, now that it's expanded, make a choice. The important thing is that whoever is chosen will get more than the 50% that you are looking for. And at the end of the day, have the broader base of the party behind him or her moving forward. So the view is that as you expand, you no longer have to now have a constricted, you know, group at the top to try to make a decision before the broader makes that decision. And that's why conference took that decision.
And also, party executives that get appointed must resign with immediate effect. What was the thinking that went into that?
One of the lessons we learned from the Michael Quay report was that you had many places where party persons have been appointed into government positions, but were still holding on to their party positions, leading to a lot of disgruntled views at the party level that we are all capable of doing a job. You may be a, you know, an organizer. We empower. You've become an admin coordinator. Concentrate on that and let another equally competent person come and take up the position of organizer, so that more people get room to participate in the various levels. Not that one person now, you know, holds about 3 or 4 things at the same time. Secondly, there's also the effort to ensure that we have a party that is strong, that can even hold the government to account even before the broader country comes up. And the view is that when you have people with some of these commingled roles, the same person is acting in government, the same person is acting in the party. When the party needs to call the government to order, there are limitations at that point. Some of these views were those that were expressed, and conference in the end agreed that those should be decoupled. If you want a government appointment, take it and focus on it and let somebody else come take up that party role so that more people can participate in the exercise.
Well, government appointees, when they're vying for a position, must resign 24 months before. Why 24 months though?
So there were 2 levels. If you want to run for the presidency, it's 24 months. If you want to run for member of parliament, it's 12 months. 24 months for the presidency to tie up with the period that, how do I put it, we're allowed to campaign for the presidency in the party. So you cannot be a chief executive or a minister, and instead of working as chief executive to either deliver electricity or work as minister, deliver on something, then you are on the ground campaigning. There will be a shift in focus. But it's also to ensure that during that period when primaries have been opened, you get an opportunity to actually go and do your campaign that you want to do. For members of parliament, it's 12 months because that is the period for campaigning and electing a parliamentary candidate. So you quit and then you go and do your politics to become a parliamentary candidate if you so choose.
Kojo, it's been a pleasure having you this morning. But is there any other thing you'd like to add before I let you off?
I think some of the most important amendments also, as I mentioned earlier, are motions 26, 27, and 30. So now the party is setting up, first of all, a policy directorate at the party level, so that the party with its philosophy can come to some views on how we want some things in terms of policy done. Currently, the model that most political parties run in Ghana is that you first win the primaries, and then you put together a manifesto committee to go and put up the ideas. Some of those ideas may even be deviating from the philosophy of the party. We are a liberal conservative party, a party that is a right of center. What should be our institutional views on, let's say, education, on healthcare, on infrastructure? These views must be put together by the policy directorate working with the sector committees. And now you also notice, I think in motion 26, that the sector committees have also now been expanded to bring on board persons who are in parliament, persons who are not in parliament, the best brains to come together to formulate our positions on policy matters, whether we're in power or in opposition. And then thirdly, if you look at motion 30, these policy views now have to be brought to conference every year, again, whether we're in power or in opposition. The end effect is that the party has its views. So if you become flag bearer, you are more likely going to have to follow the views of the party in tandem with its philosophy in attacking or addressing some of the existential challenges that we have, as against you having your own views, which could end up in a situation where a leader leads us to deviate from our philosophical position as a party. And I think that these are some of the most important, or may I say equally important amendments that requires attention.
Just before you go, very importantly, the issue about unity in the party, especially at the grassroots, did you think you've achieved that with this conference?
It's not a one-day matter. You can't achieve that with a conference. It's going to be a continuous exercise. We must be humble enough to admit that when a party has been led for about 16 years by one person, when that person is no longer on the stage, there will be a clamor for power. That is what is happening now. But that's why in the wisdom of council said, let's have the flag bearership election by January 31st, so that this clamor for power is taken off the table. And two, let's have clarity on who the leader of the party is by ensuring that it's clearly designated in the Constitution. And then number three, let's have some very strong disciplinary structures. And so you notice in some of these amendments, some stronger, may I say, whips on discipline. If you're able to do these, then yes, you can have competition. People can express different views, but people will respect the democratic process. This morning, for example, I've seen the communications director of the party saying that he does not agree that the office of the communication director should be elective. That is democracy. He's allowed to disagree, but conference takes a decision and he will conform. But where you don't have discipline and you don't have structures, then you now see people doing whatever they feel like doing, all sorts of language that is being used that eventually brings the party down. So unity is not a one-day item. It is as a result of the combination of all of these things. So we are working towards it.
Right. Thank you so much, Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, for your time on our desk this morning. And that was Kojo Oppong Nkrumah giving us details of the amendments done to the NPP Constitution. Moving on, the fate of 185 Ghanaians studying at the University of Memphis now hangs in the balance as they face an August 9 deadline to pay their fees or risk expulsion. The students are beneficiaries of the Ghana government scholarship scheme, but due to the state's failure to pay outstanding tuition payments, the university has warned that unless fees are settled within 20 days, the affected students will be evicted from the university housing and removed from academic programs. In an interview on Action News 5's Better Memphis show, University President Dr. Bill Hardgrave described the situation as dire. He revealed that Ghana currently owes the university a total of $3.6 million in unpaid tuition.
Of Memphis from Ghana may be forced to return to their home country. U of M President Dr. Bill Hardgrave joined us on A Better Memphis today. He told us the students are sponsored by the government from Ghana, which has not paid the students' tuition in some time. The Daily Memphian reports the students have until August the 9th to find alternative payment or have to vacate.
I think there was a regime change in Ghana, and that affected the budget. So we're hopeful that it gets corrected because we'd love to keep those students on campus.
So last December, Ghanaians elected its former president, John Mahama, over the vice president from the incumbent party. In total, the Daily Memphian reports Ghana owes the University of Memphis $3.6 million. The university says anyone willing to help can donate to the Gary Shorb International Student Support Fund.
And the minority in parliament is urging government to act swiftly and resolve the matter before the August 9 deadline. His Majority Chief Whip, Frank Anodompre, adding his voice to the call for urgent intervention.
Our students who are abroad schooling scholarship, we are told the University of Memphis University has given a deadline of 9th of August as a date to sack Ghanaian students. It is not a palatable news. Well, I'm raising it as a concern. If you differ, you can speak. It is not a palatable news. I think the Minister for Communication at the Presidency, the Honorable Felix, should be preparing to come and tell us something. 9th August giving us a deadline for Ghanaian students to be sacked from Memphis University is a matter of public concern. And I will be glad if an action is taken within reasonable time to deal with this concern.
Work has started on phase 2 of the Blekusu Coastal Protection project. This is after President Mahama cut the sword, renewing hope for coastal communities long battered by tidal waves. The coastal stretch covering Blekusu, Agaveji, Salakope, Amutinu and Adina has over the years suffered devastating effects of sea erosion. Entire homes, farmlands and businesses have been swept away, displacing families and damaging livelihoods. Well, we've been joined by Wisdom Bonedu Siade, MC of Keta, also Sandra Seirang Bedo. She's MC for Anlonga. We're grateful for your time on our decks. Let me start with Sandra Seirang Bedo, Anlonga MC. The president has given you some lifeline, something you've been crying for so many years now. What do you make of what has happened? Sandra, kindly unmute for us.
Sorry?
Great, I can hear you.
Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah. I would like to say a very good morning to your viewers. We are very grateful to the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for listening to the cry of the people of Salakope, Agaveji, and Blekusu by breaking the ground officially for the Sea Defense Project to start. It is our hope and fervent prayer that once phase 2 of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project is completed, the government will, as a matter of urgency and deep concern, extend its attention to the communities from Jita through to Fubema in the Anlogan district.
Currently, how are your people coping? Really, until construction starts, I'm sure there must be some difficulties that residents are going through, especially with the current weather situation that we have. How are they coping?
Yeah. In fact, these coastal areas are currently under serious threat as the sea continues to erode the shoreline, devastating homes, destroying properties, and disrupting livelihoods of our people.
All right.
As the district chief executive for Anglonga, I wish to make a passionate and humble appeal to the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to come to the aid of the people of Anglong by extending the sea defense project to cover this vulnerable stretch of our coastline.
So how then are they really living their lives? Because even in certain communities, there's been flooding and whatnot. You also have NADMO. Are their responses swift enough to help residents?
Yeah. For all this while, when the erosion starts, we just manage. And for the last 8 years, when it happens, maybe we approach the NADMO, the little relief items that they can get for the people to use for a few weeks, and that is it. So on my side, I think the sea defense would be the best solution to this problem.
Have they started construct? Do we know when they'll start construction?
Not actually. The president has just cut break ground for the work to start at Agaveji, that is in the Ketu South. But we are here in the Anglongan district, praying and hoping that as soon as the phase 2 of this Agaveji project ends, the president will turn to us in Anglongan district as well. Thank you.
Thank you too. And that's Sandra Serian-Bedo. She's MC for Anloga. We were hoping to have Wisdom Siade, MC for Keta, also joining us. Unfortunately, we do not have him. But President Mahama has revealed that contractors who received double payments for road construction during the previous administration will face penalties. During his thank you tour of the Eastern region, he mentioned that the Auditor General has completed an audit of these payments and contractors will return to site except for those who have been paid double.
$1.5 billion. EDCS acquiring your hospitals, your BBR, and Sana Ghana to me, Edru, Pempenswa, it was Edru. And the program be by a friend of the big push. And I know Sika, ye nyafi, ye frango, any gas, any agodia, ye de kwa manonina. Yeah, the size can be at on chain. Yeah, the year program, my friend, the big push. Now, big push, no. Yeah, the Bayer acquaint. Minim say, Nananum be brave. Abra Yako campaign. I did back one, I did be almost soon, and they say, I acquire some. Yeah, by acquire air cosono. Yeah, can say contractors don't train Kakransa. If you say, yeah, but yeah, audit. If you say, you say,
we halted all ongoing road construction projects and requested an audit after discovering that some roads had already been funded by the road fund, yet certain contractors had also used their interim payment certificates to secure additional payment from the Ministry of Finance. As a result, we directed the Auditor General to conduct a comprehensive audit of all road projects. The audit has now been completed. Based on the findings, we will allow all contractors to return to their respective sites, except for those found to have received double payments. They will face the full rigors of the law.
And so I'm renting and what you man a year a kakra.
Well, President Mahama also says the Eastern region will benefit from the Big Push agenda with a modern bridge planned over the Afram River to replace the current reliance on pontoons.
Finalization of Osino and Yunam bypass. Construction of modern bridge over Afram River.
As part of the Big Push initiative, the Eastern region will receive its fair share of road development. For those familiar with the Kuhu-Afram Plains, we are taking a big step forward. A modern bridge will soon be constructed over the Afram Plains from Adosu to Amanfrom. This will permanently replace the reliance on pontoon ferries will replace the reliance on pontoons for crossing.
Na yewie enyoma ne de bebre mekasa me boso a say yewie ne enso abra yeba abamu a ye che ejuma ye hwehwe nkrofo abeboa me etimi ebu oman no.
Well, after contractors working on the Odumase-Krobo and Somanya stretch left site, residents have been left to their fate as they battle unbearable dust, respiratory diseases, among other negative impact. The residents say some drivers are even refusing to ply the stretch. They're asking government to fix the roads or do them back on a series of industrial actions. Tema correspondent Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
In the heart of the Krobo enclave in the eastern region, frustration brews as a vital road project lies abandoned, dusty, dangerous and undelivered. The short but strategic stretch was included in the Nkrumah government-sanctioned road project awarded to General Construction Limited. Work began in July 2024, but months later, the contractor is nowhere to be found, reportedly due to delayed government payments. Thick dust and deep potholes define the daily reality for school children, traders, health workers, eateries, among others. Here is Regina Teko, who runs a convenience shop, sharing the impact of the abandoned road on their health and business.
It's making our things very dirty here, and it's making sales very bad. And then the dust we are inhaling is very dangerous to our health. Last time my daughter was sick, we went to hospital, they said it's pneumonia. And then some of us even have sinusitis, and we are really suffering due to the dust on the road here. We are just appealing to the government to come to our aid. We are appealing to the government because the tipper truck, they load heavy sand, limestone, and then they will just pass on fast speeding. And then they are using these limestones to do better things in different towns, and they are getting the things from here, and we are even suffering here.
According to residents, Patience Oklete, some drivers are refusing to ply the stretch and are charging more than twice the fare due to the state of the road. Linguist at the Manyakbono market, Joyce Yowe, says due to the bad state of the road, customers are reluctant traveling on the stretch to buy from them.
As for the dust, it's going to kill us. When you go to the market and coming back, you will spend more than 1 hour, 2 hours before coming to the house because the road is not good. The road is not good at all. Please, the contractors should come and do something about it. We are pleading. We know it's their work, but we too, we are in need of it. So please, we are just asking that they should come, wherever it is, they should come and do something about it.
Meanwhile, opinion leader Dr. Eric Lawe says the current state of the project is doing more harm than good.
Many people, women who sell by the roadside, they have closed their shops. In fact, there are certain times of the day that you will not even get a car, especially between Odumase Junction and Somanya Runabout. There are parts of the day, times of the day that you will not even get any car if you want to travel across this stretch. And so the people are asking questions. They are asking when is the contractor coming. Unfortunately, the local leaders, the political leaders are not able to give any good timelines. So this has brought a lot of hardship on the people, students, traders, road users, transport operators. It's really, really difficult.
The residents are expected to hit the streets on Thursday to drum home their plight.
For residents of Odumase-Krobo and Somanya, fixing the road remains a priority at this point. They're asking government to get contractors back to site due to the negative impact of the current state of the road. From Odumase-Krobo here in the eastern region, this has been Kwame Yanka for Joy News.
Well, you're still watching Joy News Desk. We'll take a break. We'll return with business.
Welcome back to Business here on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and our 12th business story. Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has said government is actively renegotiating terms with independent power producers, IPPs, to achieve a balanced arrangement that benefits both the state and the private stakeholders. Speaking at the high-level forum on Ghana's energy sector hosted by the Africa Center for Energy Policy and the Open Society Foundations, Jinapor reflected on the early challenges of his tenure. Despite these initial hurdles, the minister expressed optimism about the future of Ghana's energy sector.
We are renegotiating with some of the IPPs, and we believe that under the leadership of Ben and Co, who are spearheading that agenda for us, we'll be able to come to some very, very favorable terms with the IPP, so we can have a win-win situation. We are also working on our gas infrastructure as transition fuel. We are well aware of Ghana's energy transition, and we believe that as the world is transitioning, gas will serve some good purpose whilst we roll out a lot of renewable energy. And it's not for anything that President Mahama decided that he would add green transitions to the ministry. It's because he wants us to focus more and be heavy on renewable energy. And so we are putting in place a lot of reforms. We've decided that henceforth, when it comes to procurement of power, we want to do that through competitive process. The days when the private sector just bring their terms and dump it on us are over. We want to set our parameters and ensure that we benefit from that.
Now, away from that, the managing director of the Global Share Alliance, Aaron Edu, has asked stakeholders to recognize the share tree not only as a source of fruit and income, but as a symbol of life and sustainability. Speaking at a Share Day celebration at Sankana, where they launched an ambitious share parkland restoration initiative.
The 2025 Share Day celebration in Sankana in the Nodulu-Keleo district marked a pivotal moment for the share industry and its millions of dependents across Africa. The event brought together share stakeholders, traditional leaders, women processors, and community members to renew commitment towards restoring degraded share landscapes critical to rural livelihoods and environmental sustainability. Managing Director of Global Share Alliance, Aaron Edu, urged stakeholders to recognize the share tree not only as a source of fruit and income, but as a symbol of life and sustainability deeply rooted in communities, particularly benefiting women.
Share is more than a source of fruit. The tree is more than a source of fruit. It is a symbol of resilience and life for millions of communities across 21 countries in Africa. The tree sustains communities, provides shade and shelter, support biodiversity, and so for generations, it has been the backbone of rural livelihoods, especially for women, because it offers nourishment and a path to economic empowerment for millions of women living in the landscape.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Ama Kofi-Boa, in a speech read on his behalf by the Apostle General Manager of the Forestry Commission, Kwame Otten-Ewua, called on traditional leaders, women, and the youth to join hands in nurturing the share seedlings into mature trees.
As we plan today, ladies and gentlemen, we must also think of tomorrow. Let us commit to nurturing these trees and into maturity, protect them, valuing them, and ensuring that their benefits are sustained across generations.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Somana Kinsport Babuin, in a speech read on his behalf by the Executive Secretary, Professor Damaso Suroso, noted that land restoration is not just about planting trees, but about healing the fabric of the community.
My deep personal connection to the earth as a living organism is what has over the years fueled my passion for environmental protection as well as sustainable land restoration practices such as reforestation and responsible land use in the country. My love lost with the earth has found expression in my championing various initiatives to combat land degradation, desertification, promotion of land, parkland restoration, and agroforestry.
Two beneficiaries of the share plantation, Portia Alale and Patience Kala, expressed gratitude for the project and are already looking for a ready market for shea butter.
And we are so excited for what they have done for us. And our main problem we are facing now, we want them to support us with the machine that can help us do the shea nut, the shea butter, so that if they can get people to come and buy the share from us, there that we can get money to cater our children in school and also help our household.
So now we have learned that cutting of trees is very bad. When you cut it, you make sure you do what you plant another one. Purposely, with this program, we have nursed a lot of plants, not only shea. There are other non-shea trees we are nursing there. So we want to use that non-shea trees for firewood and charcoal burning and stop cutting the shea trees.
Paramount Chief of Sankana, Nasa Kwemona Paranige, also expressed gratitude for the project. Vice Chancellor of the Simon Diedondombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies, Professor Emmanuel Kedreble, chaired the function. The event concluded with the planting of shea trees. Reporting for Dway News, Rafik Salam, Sankana.
Always a delight to hear from Rafik Salam, especially when he gets to the wa. I got my cousins and nephews always ready to pronounce the wa anytime.
I know, right? Even me. It's like a, it sounds in your head.
Exactly.
Just about when he's finishing the report.
Yeah.
Rafik Salam. Wow. Thank you, Winston. Well, let's do the National Science and Math quiz now. The regionals for the National Science and Math quiz in the Ashanti and Volta region start today. Let's speak to Collins Frimpong and Adobia Sari. Adobia, where are you currently?
Novianya Chichi, Mami Leke Fon.
Eh, Mefon, but I'm still very fat. just one that you can speak. You are coming to do Tuno here. Anyway, what's happening where you are?
That's all I know. Anyway,
I know.
So we are in the Volta region where the 2025 National Science and Maths quiz, Volta Regional Qualifiers, has kick-started. And unlike the Eastern region where we saw so many schools, about 57 schools, so we had 20 schools contesting a day. Over here, there are just 36. So a day we'll see about 9 schools battle for 3 slots. However, the rule of the 40-point threshold still holds. So if any school does not even win, but they're able to score 40 points, they'll make it to the next stage. So currently there's a contest underway. We are in the second round. The first round saw Wovenu SHTS leading with 29 points. In the contest are Pando Senior High School and Peje Senior High. So 3 for this morning. Later in the day, we'll have another 3. And maybe in the evening, we'll have another 3. So we are seeing 9 schools every day. We hope to see most of them qualify to the nationals. But let's just see how it goes. So that's how it is here in the Volta region.
But who do you think is winning in this first contest?
Charlie, the way the team is going, Wovenu is really showing some power. So, but NSMQ has so many surprises. So, because Mando is also following closely, they're just like 4 points gap away. So we see how it will end at the end of the contest.
All right, thank you, Adobia Sari, there in the Volta region. Collins Frimpong, where are you two now and what's happening there? Oh, unfortunately, we don't have Collins on the line with us, but that's how we sum up this edition of Joy News Desk. Thank you for being with us. We'll come again tomorrow. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.